Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast. Today, you already know it's Good Thursday AEW Dynamite review. We'll be going right through here now. You already know. Any updates? Follow the Twitter X Factor MG5654. Like I said, Q&As, anything. At me in the comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about, and we'll get right through it here. So. The first match of the night was the Guns versus the Hardys, which I thought was Guns ended up with the win. I thought it was a good start to the show. I feel like the time they had was real good. I thought they with how Matt and Jeff, or with Jeff at least, the timing was great for the match. It was only like 5 minutes maybe for the match. Guns up with the win, with Bullet Club Gold getting involved. So now it looks like Bullet Club Gold is now a faction now. Bullet Club Gold was taken out, and the Guns were taken out. Jeff and Matt, and then next thing you know, Ricky Starks and FTR come out, and then boom, next thing you know, CM Punk comes out, and well, we got ourselves a 4-on-4 tag team match now, going into this Saturday with FTR, Ricky Starks, and CM Punk versus Bullet Club Gold and the Gun Club, which is, in my opinion, that's a very interesting. CM Punk will be having a second tag team match, the second match back, so that's some good stuff there. I feel like the Guns and Hardys, Jeff has taken a hiatus from AEW. Well, it's not a hiatus. They're writing him off TV because he cannot go to Canada due to his recent past. They would not allow him to, so he will not be in Canada for their tour. So that's what they had to do to write him off TV. And with Punk, we're gonna see Punk this Sunday, which I'll talk about here in a little bit with the Owen Hart Cup. But overall, I thought the Guns and Hardys, the timing was good. The match was alright. Mark Briscoe, Jeff Jarrett, Concession Stand Brawl, I was not a fan of it. Them two alone, I thought they did good. But with everyone else getting involved, it was not really a type of thing. It's like, what's even going on? It was the same thing with Jericho and Adam Cole's match. Not a fan of them. Mark Briscoe got up with the win, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's just, in my opinion, which wasn't that great. So, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Minoru Suzuki for Zack Andretti, AR Fox, and Darius Martin in a 6-man tag. And I've told you this before, I am not a fan of 6-man tags, but this, I am really liking. I really like the 6-man tag. Jericho, Guevara, Minoru Suzuki. I thought they all did good. Jericho, I've been said last week, maybe he lost his magic. So for the next couple weeks, I'm going to stay close attention to him. Action, JR, Fox, Darius Martin, they do good in every match they do. But after the match, Jericho pretty much called out Sting, for a match. Sting Darby came out. We'll find out this Saturday who they will be tag team with. It's either gonna be Guevara turns on Jericho then, or some people will speculate Goldberg. But if Goldberg shows up in AEW like that, man, that's gonna turn some heads right there. So, but overall, I thought the match was good. Don't know. This is probably the weirdest episode of AEW, so there's not really much to get down with thing here. But we on the blind tag team tournament for the number one contender for the tag team titles. We figured out what that was gonna be. It was the first. It's like a blind, like you don't know who your partner is. So Adam Cole came out, said he did everything in his way to try to win. MJF didn't win either, and he says he's gonna get a shot at, it, and he called out MJF. MJF came out, and he says for Adam Cole's health, he cannot do another match with Adam Cole. Them two are arguing. Next thing we know, Shivani announces that MJF and Adam Cole will be partners in the tag team tournament. And of course, MJF screaming because he has to wrestle every week. In my opinion, it's just comedy stuff at this point. It's really funny in my opinion. Adam Cole, it was a real shocker for them having to become tag. Because WWE used to do this with with their rivalries. It's like, can these guys be a good tag team together, type of thing. But this is just gonna cause drama for them two personally. So, and then of course MJF gets pissed off and gets his way worked into having a match with Tanahashi this Sunday, which in my opinion, I think it'd be a good match, but MJF got himself stuck in a predicament there. So, the segment I'm really enjoying this Adam Cole MJF rivalry, even though it's only been going on for 3 weeks now. I'm really enjoying what they did the first promo of the match last week, and then this. Like, if they had a match at Wembley Stadium, that shit would draw some good shit there. So, overall, I think though everything's just good. Match of the night: Daniel Garcia, Zack Sabre for Orange Cassidy and Shibata. A tag team match. The match went on for about maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Really, really good match. Zack Sabre, Sabre. Is it Zack Sabre? I'm Sabre. Sorry, I've been watching The Office. My bad. Zack Sabre Jr. Daniel Garcia. I noticed last night he didn't get real much of a reaction from the crowd. Which I don't know if that's just gonna be he has had that problem in the past, but I don't know if it's just because he's with Jericho. It does it or whatever. I don't know. Zack Sabre Jr., Orange Cassidy, and Shibata all got their reactions. In my opinion, they're all great. We're gonna have a fatal 4-way for Orange Cassidy on Forbidden Door this Sunday, so that's gonna be some good stuff there. Overall, who I think is going to win? I think Daniel Garcia has a good shot at leaving Forbidden Door with that title, but I think Orange Cassidy is just going to win it again like he has been. So, overall, I thought the match was amazing. Bunch of good shit there. So, Chris Statlander, Taya Valkyrie for TBS title, which was the main event of the show, like the main event match. I thought it was good. Taya Valkyrie. Chris Statlander is doing really good in her return back. Taya Valkyrie, she is really showing why she is, one of the top contenders for the title, even though she's lost in that match 3 times already. So I don't know what they're going to do with her next. But Chris Statlander, she's having a bunch of matches. I think she's had a match almost every week for that title. So, so Eddie Kingston came out to the ring and pretty much he was gonna announce who his opponent was gonna be, or who his partner was gonna be, because Eddie Kingston has officially joined with the Elite to face the Combat Club. Tomohiro Ishii is the 5th member, which I forgot they tag teamed. I think they had a tag team match together back at All Out last year. So that's gonna be some good stuff there. Okada, we got an Okada Danielson stare down for a second. We finally got to see Okada. This whole episode of AEW is so weird, and it's like a good weird, because I said last week after Collision, I said that this could be a turning point in AEW, and this week I can feel it. I can feel what they're doing with Collision this week, with Rampage this week, with Dynamite last night. I feel like there's a turning point in AEW. It's one of those turning points. It's where, because everyone says that, or Eric Bischoff specifically said that AEW will not hit its peak, or has already hit its peak. And a lot of people said they're hitting their peak. In my opinion, they haven't even hit their peak yet. They're only a company of 5 years. They haven't even hit their peak yet, and which is a good thing. Which is, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. In my opinion, they don't hit their peak until they start getting, stadiums sold out every week, They get good storylines out every week. You got people that actually care most of the time every week. You get stadiums like All Out or All In. Like that's when you know you're hitting your peak mark. In my opinion, with everyone coming back, it can their peak can be soon, real soon with everyone coming back. With Collision beating Dynamite in ratings, shocking thing there, which I'll get into here in a second. I don't think AEW has fully hit its peak, which is something that, it was just one of those little things where, after 2021 happened, everyone's like, oh, that's their peak, that they're nothing else. In my opinion, they haven't hit their peak. They're not close to their peak yet. Like, they're close, but not close enough to where they could say, you know what, this is what we're, getting at with what we want, But that was a little bit of rundown on Dynamite. I'm going to talk about some of these little things here. So one of these things I've been noticing the last couple of weeks is the Hardys. And the main issue is, should the Hardys retire? Jeff, I could really see, possibly retiring. I think he is getting, not as good as it is at his age, but, you got to think about it, out of the Hardys, which one had the most dangerous stunts back then? It was always Jeff. Jeff did the most dangerous things. Matt, he's still there. Like, he still has a little bit of it there. Jeff, his it has been going drastically down since he came to AEW, and then the incident with, the drunk driving and all that issues. And if I was the Hardys, I'd definitely consider, hey, maybe it's time to hang it up. Just think about it, because they're not the same Hardys, and it's better to retire when you still have that little bit of it left in it than retire when you have nothing left. You know what I mean? We've seen that with a lot of older guys going into their, going at the end of their careers. We've seen a lot of guys come in and, the last couple of years left, and they didn't show their full, selves again. So, the Guns, I am personally, Guns are one of the best tag teams, in my opinion. They could be one of the future stars here in AEW. It's just as long as they book them right. I feel like everything about them, they got that little skank in their step. They got a little bit of a oomph to them every week. And they could, with the Bullet Club now, you don't have to have, you can have, with the Bullet Club Gold, it's opening a spot for everyone has their own role. Juice Robinson gets the mid-card side. Gun Club get the tag titles, the tag division, and then Jay White gets the main event scene. You easily got your Bullet Club Gold set up right there. You don't need, in my opinion, when it comes to factions, you don't need more than 5 or more than 4 or 5, because you got a tag team, you got your mid card guy, and then you got your main event guy, and then maybe a manager to put in there to be with all of them. Kind of like what Paul was to the Usos, Solo, and Roman. You know what I mean? That's how they should put it. But as a manager, I don't know who they would put as a manager. Maybe Billy Gunn if he ever turned heel. I don't know. But I gotta go back to Mark Briscoe and Jeff Jarrett, because I kind of just went right to that. Mark Briscoe, the main narrative is Mark Briscoe getting buried. I have been hearing it. I've been hearing people say it. Or what are they doing with Mark Briscoe? I'm going to give you this. So when Jay passed away, Mark finally got to be on AEW TV. He had his match with Jay Lethal. Okay, boom, he gets his rivalry with Samoa Joe in Ring of Honor. Boom. Then, boom, he gets up to the Dynamite roster, and he's working with Dynamite guys, and it's like, who does he work with? Boom, they put him with his first, major AEW Dynamite storyline is with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Jeff Jarrett, and all of them. Just because of what happened last week with the 6-man tag and what they've been doing with Mark Briscoe doesn't mean he's getting buried. If you want to call him getting buried, that's when he's getting losses to Serpentico every other week. That's how you know he's getting buried. Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and the Mark Briscoe feud, I think they're, especially with Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe, there's some good history between them two, and then Jay Lethal brings that history with Jeff Jarrett, and then boom, Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe should get into it. Boom, they did. The concession stand brawl, which was more of a concession stand match because the brawl, always ended with someone actually going down at the end. And the concession stand brawl was not the best match. It was not what I expected it to be because with how everyone getting involved, it was like the same thing as Jericho and Cole's match. You don't know what the hell you're getting yourself into. Mark Briscoe, in my opinion, he's not getting buried. I feel like because we haven't got a Jay Lethal Mark Briscoe match in this rivalry yet. So once we get that going, boom, I feel like that's where you can get him off, get him to like a TNT title picture, All Atlantic title picture, and then once he gets up there, boom, put him in that world title picture. Just because people like Mark, deserve title shots. They deserve their spot. They deserve their appreciations for being there. So, and I just gotta acknowledge how much I love Minoru Suzuki. I love that man. I did not know much of his work up until last year when he faced Samoa Joe. And then after that, I fell in love with him. In my opinion, he is truly one of the best around. And it's weird because like with Jericho, he gets boos, and then Suzuki comes in and he gets just cheers and all that. So I thought that was pretty interesting right there. But I got to talk about Action Andretti, AR Fox, Darius Martin. Action Andretti, they brought him in last December. He beat Jericho in his first match. And now he's in Ring of Honor doing this trio stuff. My thing is, what are they going to do with him as a singles competitor? Sitting here thinking, if you put him in a match with Claudio, I think that match would be amazing. I think overall the match would be amazing. Actually, Andretti, he has their in-ring work, and he has the, how do you put it? He has the in-ring work, but he's not the best at promos yet. Which I gotta put some blame here on some indie promotions. Because some indie promotions are not, professional. And I've been hearing this narrative for a while now. Has independent wrestling ruined professional wrestling? And, independent wrestling is it kind of has, but it kind of hasn't. Because, with a lot of these people, and this is what is the main difference with AEW, WWE. With WWE, they get world-class athletes from colleges. It started with Jim Ross getting these people, and boom, they started getting it. And my main thing is, why doesn't AEW do that? Why don't they get their, stars? They go and they see these world-class athletes, ask them if you want to be a professional wrestler, boom, we'll get you trained. And honestly, performance center type thing for AEW would help so many of those indie guys, because in independent wrestling, the way it looks like is that you need to do all these high spots. Otherwise, you're not going to really amount to anything. And I get Tony Khan wanted to give all these indie people real good, their stuff. But you realize a lot of those indie guys that Tony Khan picks up are not good at promos. We're in a day of wrestling where everyone cares about promos. We're in a day of wrestling where a lot of people care about how we're in nowadays it's about the entertainment more than it is professional wrestling, which it hurts, but that's just the truth. Me personally, I am about the entertainment, the storylines, and the professional wrestling. The entertainment and storylines, I got that from WWE. That's from watching all these WWE stuff. The professional wrestling side, I got from AEW and watching a couple New Japan stuff as of the last couple of months. So the main thing, I think independent wrestling has somewhat killed professional wrestling just a little bit, based off what they come off as. And they're not much promo guys. They scream, cuss, and everything. But once you get into that professional side, you gotta learn how to make it feel. You gotta make the people feel. You gotta walk there in front of 20,000, 10,000, 15,000, 9,000, 5,000, all those type of people in every arena, and you got to get them to feel. Because they might, not everyone knows a lot of people from the independent circuit. Not many people know who you are. So I get, the high spots can always prove something, but if you just show yourself out in the first match like Action and Andretti did, boom. You don't, and promo stuff, I've always said that you can work with that overall during your time, because you got people in there that can help you. You got Jericho, you got Christopher Daniels, you got Bryan Danielson, you got Kenny, you got Punk, you got so many different people around there that can help. And back then, independent wrestling really helped with, you got a lot of guys that can actually talk on the mic. Nowadays, there's not many storylines with a lot of independent wrestling stuff unless you're GCW, and MLW, and those type of promotions. But if you're talking about the small indie circuit guys, not many people, there's not much storylines because it's not a week-to-week thing it's like not a weekly show. It's like you have these matches, boom, matches, that's it. And with AEW, they're seeing these guys, and they're like, well, he's talented, but we need to know if he can talk. That's what they need to look at. Like, yeah, if he can wrestle, yeah, but we need to know if he can talk. And if he is not the best promo guy, you get him in some promo classes, get him with some guys that can, help him, so he can develop as a better star down the road. And I might be wrong on this. I don't know. That's just what I feel, because I am not big on the independent circuit. I see a couple of guys like Nick Wayne and Billy Starks, I think that's what her name is. They're both the two younger 18-year-olds coming in. That's a perfect time for AEW to get these two in there, get some, get the best they can get out of them, and they could become bigger stars down the line. Because, Thea Hill, for instance, she's 19 years old. She's entertaining, she's getting better in the ring, and she's getting pushed at 19 years old. That is what a performance center does. A performance center gets guys like Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Baron Corbin, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. Those type of guys, and they make them in stars. Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, who've already worked in other promotions beforehand. But if you're talking guys that you never did not know who they were coming into NXT, like Charlotte, Sasha, boom, they come in, look at them now. They're some of the biggest stars in wrestling right now. And you can say whatever you want, but Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, she is one of the best things going in New Japan right now, before she got hurt. Open mic, bitch. There. So, in my opinion, that's what, and there's very few guys that WWE has brought into wrestling from promotions that were mostly deathmatch wrestling. Moxley was one of the first, I think. Mick Foley came in way before. But Moxley, when the NXT day started, he was one of those first guys they brought in as a deathmatch wrestler. And he could talk, and he could, you can walk the talk, he could do everything. He had it. He can talk, and he can wrestle. I feel like now Moxley is a better wrestler now than when he was in WWE. But I think it's because now he's such a more serious Um, he's much more serious now. So that's the way I really see it. But when it comes down to it, I think indie wrestling has a little bit have killed the professional wrestling nowadays for for the big leagues, AEW and WWE, Impact, New Japan, all that type of stuff. Those big four, you can put them as. But if you look at the big two, AEW, or the big three, AEW, Impact, and WWE, that's what your main goal is, in my opinion, is to get one of those three. Get some New Japan in there a little bit, learn your professional wrestling side, and more in a day and age now where promos mean everything to a lot of people. If you can't talk, how are you supposed to show yourself? Especially when you work in WWE. And that's why a lot of people don't like WWE styles, because they change who you are and make you into these characters. In AEW, you can be yourself. Some of these people can make their own characters, But in WWE, they make all these different characters. They do all these gimmick changes. AEW, you don't have to do that. And that's what the biggest difference. And that's what gets the fans divided from each other. So that's all I really got for you today. I thought Dynamite was weird. I thought everything was weird. I don't got nothing for you tomorrow, so you won't hear from me until Saturday. Collision review won't come until Monday, though. Or a Collision review. Next week is going to be a little bit of a tight schedule because I am not going to be around a lot next week. So I will let you guys know in the Twitter, XFactorMG5654, why or if I cannot post that day. So, like I said, my Twitter will be in the bio. Get some Q&As in. We need to get some Q&As. We're getting a little better in viewership now. We need to get some Q&As in here. I can do more than just reviews. I can talk about more than, what you guys... I want to know what you guys want to hear from me. My perspective on things. And we'll just get into that later on. So, that's all I got for you today. Have a good day. Stay blessed.